Now on to the first story. Guitar Karen demands my time slot because her son needs something to do after school. This happened a couple of days ago and I thought you guys would enjoy it. As a bit of backstory, I play the electric guitar. I take lessons from a teacher that is absolutely the best in the area at what he does. He's been doing it for about 30 years now, so he's really good. Understandably, he's also really booked up. When COVID hit and everyone started doing online classes for school, he lost a bunch of students because they'd typically go to his class after school. And since they weren't in school or doing extracurricular activities, their parents, I guess, decided to yank them from guitar lessons too. One of the things that make my teacher awesome is that he tends to give scheduling priority to his older students like me, 41, because they don't give him the headache of having to manage every little thing between this and that thing for school. It kind of sucks for parents, but he's had enough of the headaches of rearranging everyone's life because little Johnny has to play his leading role of being a rock in the school play. Now this matters because now that kids are starting to go back into the classrooms where I live, parents are blowing up his phone trying to schedule their little darlings back into lessons, while we older folks have been dutifully attending or doing online lessons and paying the whole time. So if you've been doing that all this time and you've got the 3:30 slot, and you like it, that's where you stay. This matters because of Guitar Karen. Guitar Karen's son used to take lessons, but she pulled him out for the last 9 months or so. And school classes are starting up, and Guitar Karen wants as little to do with her kid as possible. So she has apparently enrolled him in every possible after-school activity that exists. I know this because my teacher rolls his eyes as our lesson is about to begin because his phone is pinging like crazy. I thought it might be an emergency or something, so when he returned to the room, I said, "Your phone has been going crazy." He normally turns it off during our session and he just mutters something and turns it off, talking about how this woman has signed her kid up for track, baseball, art, band, and now guitar, and in order to ensure he has something to do every single day of the week, he absolutely must have this for slot. You can imagine where this is going. Guess whose slot that is? Mine? I'm super flexible with regard to the days of the week, just not the time of day because I work until then. I told him as much, but he's like, "No, I'm not moving you, don't worry." He turns off his phone and we continue on our lesson. Within like 5 minutes, his computer is going ping, 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 and he's like, "Holy mother of duck," and shuts the lid. Blissful silence for the remainder of our lesson, until he opens the classroom door and there stands Guitar Karen. A kind of heavy-set woman with her lips pursed like she's gonna give you a kiss, and her brow looking like it has permanently stuck itself in the scowl position, and a mama bear t-shirt on. I shit you not. "You," she yells at me. Now I've never seen this lady in my life, but she's got no mask on, so my instinctive reaction is to socially distance my butt right the hell away from her, but she just Godzilla stomps her way in, knocking over a music stand and sending papers everywhere. She turns and shouts at the teacher, "Why won't you give my son this time spot? He needs it. You need to reschedule your other students and stop singling me out because my son has other activities." The poor guy can't get a word in edgewise. She's standing in the doorway so I can't leave. She looks me up and down, me who is very much a t-shirt and jeans kind of lady, and is wearing a shirt that says "I like heavy metal, coffee, cats, and maybe 3 people," and is like, "I bet you don't even have a job. You're probably some washed out college dropout. Why'd you pick this time slot anyway? Is it because you knew someone as I might need it? You need to give it to my son." I also can't say a damn word because this woman just won't shut up. Now let me reiterate that my teacher is the most chill guy on the planet, but he nearly died last year from sepsis on top of the whole COVID thing. So he's really understandably pissed when someone gets in your face and is stabbing your chest with their long-nailed finger and spraying insults without a mask on. He gets between me and her and says, "You need to back up or get out." They take their confrontation out into the hallway. He tells me to go ahead and leave and he'll handle her. I hear him tell this lady, "Listen, love, Spain has been with me for years, and I'd better never hear you insult her or any of my other students ever again. Your behavior is disgusting and you need to leave the premises now before I call security." We don't have security in the building, but she doesn't need to know that. He was so fired up, I think he could have landed her flat on her, but at that moment, she turns completely meek and is like, "What about lessons for my son?" And at this point, the teacher was like, "Absolutely not." And she's like, "But he needs this." And the teacher said, "Not my problem," and acted as if he were dialing security on his phone. She scuttled out of there as I was leaving the parking lot. I wanted to give my teacher the biggest high five. He later told me he didn't hear from her since then, but he thinks this isn't the last encounter. I imagine she's the type of person that will come down there every weekday at that time to berate whichever poor student has that spot because her son obviously needs it. And on to the second entitled parents story. Entitled Mother demands I sell her something extremely important to me. Because my little angel deserves it. Okay, this happened back in 2019, I only just thought of posting it here. Cast, K-Kitty-M, entitled Mom Me. Backstory, before COVID I did some babysitting every now and then. Once I babysat Kay in my house. Also, I have a small doll collection. I know it's a little weird, please don't be too judgmental. Anyways, a few months before this happened, my grandma gave me a doll for Christmas. Which is extremely important to me because it's from her. Onto the story. So around 14, EM dropped Kay off at my house. I usually don't babysit in my own home. But it didn't bother me that much. At around 16, Kay said she wanted to play hide and seek. So we played for about half an hour until she hid in my room, where she saw my display. I'm usually really insecure about people seeing it, but she was 6 and looked so excited, so I took down the dolls to show her and let her play with them until 17 when EM came to pick her up. EM went to my room to get Kay and I started to clean up. EM noticed the dolls and asked, EM, hey, are you selling any of those? Kay loves dolls. Me, oh, I'm not selling any of these ones, but I have some others in storage I could. EM, pointing at the one my grandmother gave me, oh, but that one is as pretty. I'm sure you could spare it for my daughter. How much would you like for it? Me, I'm sorry, that's from my grandma, I can't sell it. EM, is she dead? Me, extremely confused and shocked, no. EM, well then how important could it possibly be? Dolls are for children anyway, don't be so selfish. I was still technically a child, so her logic was ridiculous here. I'll give you $5. I was a little frustrated at this point, especially because she wouldn't even give me a chance to talk. Me, even if $5 was anywhere near a decent price, I wouldn't sell this for $100. Now if you'd please pay me for babysitting Kay, I would be happy to sell you a different doll. EM, what is wrong with people these days? You are so selfish, what are you even going to do with those dolls? Grow up and stop trying to ruin my daughter's childhood. Kay deserves that. Luckily, my mom's car pulled into the driveway at that exact moment. And M paid me for babysitting and left, but not after having a little temper tantrum. After that experience, I stopped letting parents drop their kids off at my house for babysitting. Now onto the third, entitled Mom Barrett's Judges at a Youth Karate Tournament. Years ago my daughter did karate. We enrolled her in one of those meat grinder youth karate schools where you had to buy a karate gi, sparring chops, a bow staff, and of course sign a full-year contract. Every season the school would put on a tournament at the local high school where the different age brackets would compete with other schools, and the students would spar and perform their belts kata. There were specific rules the kids had to follow for the kata competition. They were told to approach the ring taped off the square on the floor of the gym. Stop, bow, request permission of the judges to perform their kata, enter the ring, bow again to the judges, perform their kata, bow again, back out of the ring, etc., etc., etc. I don't remember the exact sequence as this was over 15 years ago. But you get the drill. There were a lot of steps involved. My daughter, 8 years old, was a stickler for details. She practiced her kata for days on end and memorized the instructions from her sensei. She performed her kata and followed all the steps, and was extremely respectful. Admittedly, her kata wasn't perfect. Her gi didn't snap on every punch. But she did a great job in my biased eyes. Other kids let their exuberance or nervousness show. Many ran into the ring without bowing, forgot to ask permission, turned around and ran out without bowing, and other respect infractions. At the end of her age group's performance, they lined the kids up, about 20 kids in her group, and handed out third, second, and first place trophies. Surprisingly enough, my daughter won first place. Enter stage left, entitled Mom. In the bleachers near where we were sitting was the mom of one of the kids who didn't place. She loudly exclaimed that it was bullcrap, that her little Timmy didn't win because his kata was perfect and that his gi snapped on every punch. Unlike that girl who won, she got a lot of incredulous stares and didn't get the affirmation she thought she deserved. After the tournament was over, the parents were allowed to go down and take pics with their kids and hobnob with the referees, senseis, and judges. Entitled Mom made a beeline for the judges' table and began berating them for their decision and demanded that they take the first place trophy away from my daughter and give it to her son because his gi snapped very loudly. When they explained the respect aspect, she threw a fit and demanded to speak to the tournament organizer. He was our karate school owner, a grizzled, old, ex-Vietnam vet who trained Chuck Norris. Okay, I made that last part up. Let's just say he didn't put up with her crap and told her in no uncertain terms he was not going to change the results. She didn't like this at all, and in front of everyone, she turned to us about 15 feet away taking pictures, and yelled that we needed to give our daughter's trophy to her son to make things right and that our daughter's kata was crap and that she didn't deserve to win. The repercussions for her were immediate. The karate school owner had her thrown out of the gym, and she was banned from all future tournaments. She was also banned from coming into the dojo for karate lessons, and was told she had to wait in her car or find someone else to bring her son. To his credit, he never took it out on Timmy, who actually seemed relieved that his mom got banned and acted extremely embarrassed over his mother's antics. Now to the last story for the video. My aunt was concerned I was being groomed. I'm not sure whether this is this correct subreddit. If not, please let me know. This is also my first post. For some background information, my aunt has a past track record of manipulating situations and causing fights with my dad and family members on my dad's side of the family. She enjoys playing people against one another. I'm not sure if this is important, but I'm 21F and live in the UK. We are NC and have been for years. To be able to get a better picture of the layout of where I need to explain the layout of where I live and what surrounds it. I live at the top of a hill that leads up to a road that goes up to the tarn. When you get to the top of the hill, the tarn is on the right side of the road, and if you turn left there is a road that has 3 separate turn-offs. This road is surrounded by fields. The second road leads to my aunt's house. Walking down the first turn-off down the road, you're surrounded by fields, which leads to a turn-off at the bottom, which leads you to a bunch of houses. And the way back to my house. The first turn-off is the one I use to run to do a circle to get back to mine. The tarn itself is quite large, takes 15 minutes or so to walk around. It's enclosed and surrounded by fences blocking off farmland around it. The tarn is mostly used by dog walkers. When I times 21F was 16, and in my last year of high school I went for a run on a hot summer's day after school, I decided to go for a run up the hill from my house to the tarn at the top. The original plan was to run around the tarn, and then run back down the hill to my house the same way I came, but when I got to the top, I decided to take a detour and go the opposite direction at the top of the hill, and instead run down the first turn off. The whole run took about 30 minutes and was great. When I got back I chilled until bed. Nothing seemed wrong. Was an average day. I also need to add that when it got up to the tarn, nobody was near or around the tarn. This is important for later. Skip to a couple of days later, I was in class and got told to go see my head of year in her office. When I get there, I knew something was wrong just by her behavior and how she spoke. She Saturday me down and explained that my aunt had phoned the school and told them that she had a concern that I was being groomed. Now at this point, I was like, what the f is happening? She goes on to tell me how my aunt said that she saw me when I went around the tarn and stopped to speak to some Muslims. Aunt's words, not mine. I said to my head of year that I have no idea what she is on about, and that one I never went around the tarn to nobody was at the tarn at all. I told her the way I did go and that there were maybe 2/3 dog walkers going past when I went down the turn off. She explained how she still had to go over grooming and what to look out for. After listening to her and explaining that I understand and that I am very much aware of grooming and the signs, I also explained to her that my aunt has a tendency to cause problems and that this is one of her many lies, and that if she ever does this again, then just ignore her. She said that she understood and would make a note of it. Then that was it, and I got sent back to class. I still have no idea to this day what she was trying to accomplish from this, or how she saw me supposedly, and why, when she apparently saw me, why she didn't stop it. This is one of the many insane and cruel things she's done. Her mother, my dad's mom, is a terrible human being as well. They are two peas in a pod. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching.